On the 22nd of November 1963, American President John F. Kennedy was traveling through downtown Dallas in a heavily secured motorcade. Secret Service agents, police vehicles, and multiple layers of security were present. The FBI had already monitored the route days in advance. Despite all these precautions, shots were fired near Dealey Plaza, and within moments the President of the United States was fatally wounded. What followed was chaos. The CIA, FBI, Secret Service, and local police launched one of the largest investigations in American history. Routes were blocked, buildings were sealed, and suspects were hunted across the city. Yet after all this effort, only one man was officially blamed: Lee Harvey Oswald. This raised a question that still haunts history. Did a single individual really outsmart the world's most powerful intelligence agencies? Or was President Kennedy the victim of a carefully planned conspiracy? The official explanation never fully convinced the public. President Kennedy had landed at Love Field Airport and was scheduled to attend a political event. A direct and faster route to the venue was available, one that avoided the city entirely. However, that route was rejected. Instead, the motorcade was driven slowly through the heart of Dallas, while two locations were considered for the speech: the Women's Building and the Trade Mart. The White House favored the Women's Building, but Texas Governor John Connally strongly supported the Trade Mart. Eventually, on November 14, just 8 days before the assassination, the Trade Mart was finalized. This decision was not publicly announced. Once the venue was selected, the route had to be planned. Security experts usually prefer routes with fewer turns and less exposure. Such a route existed. However, instead of choosing it, planners selected a path that passed directly by the Texas School Book Depository. Interestingly, this choice was reportedly made at President Kennedy's own request. He wanted to interact with the public and be seen by the crowds. Had the Women's Building been chosen, the motorcade would never have passed near the depository at all. This makes the venue selection a crucial detail in the entire case. Now let's talk about Lee Harvey Oswald. In September 1963, the Texas School Book Depository suddenly needed additional staff. A man named Wesley Frazier received a call from an employment agency and was quickly hired. 1 month later, Frazier's neighbor also contacted the depository and was hired almost immediately. That neighbor was Lee Harvey Oswald. Oswald did not own a car, so he rented a room in Dallas. On weekends, he traveled with Frazier to Irving, Texas, and returned together on Monday mornings. This routine continued until just one day before the assassination. On November 21, Oswald unexpectedly went to Irving and returned the next morning carrying a long paper bag. He later claimed it contained curtain rods. On November 22, shortly before noon, employees gathered for lunch on the lower floors. Oswald remained alone on the 6th floor. At exactly 12:30 p.m., the presidential motorcade entered Dealey Plaza. As the limousine slowed to make a sharp left turn, gunshots rang out. Witnesses reported hearing 2 or 3 shots. One bullet struck President Kennedy in the neck and another caused a fatal head wound. The driver immediately accelerated away from the scene, but the president was already beyond help. A police officer later stated that he saw a man firing from the 6th floor of the depository. He rushed inside, but the shooter was gone. The building was sealed. All employees were accounted for, except one: Lee Harvey Oswald. Oswald fled the building, returned to his rented room, changed clothes, armed himself, and left again. A short time later, he shot and killed a Dallas police officer. He then hid inside a movie theater, where police arrested him. Oswald was interrogated for 2 days by multiple agencies. No audio or video recordings of these interrogations exist. On November 24, while being transferred to jail, Oswald was shot in front of cameras by nightclub owner Jack Ruby. He died in the same hospital where President Kennedy had been taken. With Oswald there, many questions died with him. Several witnesses claimed the shooter they saw did not match Oswald's appearance. Before his death, Oswald repeatedly insisted he was innocent, famously saying, "I'm just a patsy." Multiple investigations followed, yet instead of clarity, they produced more confusion. Evidence was mishandled, some materials disappeared, and critical records were never properly documented. There is one final mystery. In many photographs and videos taken during the assassination, a woman can be seen standing calmly, wearing a headscarf and holding a camera. She appeared to be filming or photographing the shooting itself. Because of the scarf she wore, known as a babushka, she became known as the Babushka Lady. Despite years of investigation, her identity was never confirmed. Was she merely a witness, or was she part of something much larger? More than 6 decades later, the assassination of John F. Kennedy remains one of the most debated and controversial events in modern history, a case where answers seem just as distant as ever.